When God throws you blessings, you need to be in position to catch them. So I wanted to talk about this idea because it came to me yesterday where I was thinking about it, and I was like, how many times in life does it happen where we get these blessings or these opportunities that are kind of there, but we just don't really appreciate them? Oftentimes because we lack gratitude, we lack the emotional awareness. And so I wanted to make this video today to really talk about the importance of gratitude, because ultimately, if we're not grateful for a little, if we don't feel blessed when we have a little, it's hard for God to bless us with a lot, right? It's almost like, if you think about it, us as being humans, if someone has a birthday party, let's say it's a close friend of yours, and let's say you get them a gift that costs you $30, but your friend is upset because they feel like you should have spent at least $100 on them. So now, when next year rolls around, how likely are you to spend more money on that birthday present? Or even if you do, how bad would you feel, almost feeling like you have to do it begrudgingly? And this is how God feels with us, where when we get small blessings, but we feel like they're not the big blessings that we should have gotten. And so we're upset. We feel mad that, oh, I feel like I should have gotten this, or I should have been entitled to a bigger blessing. And God is thinking, wow, like, you're blessed with all that you have and all that you need right now. And so God is thinking, well, how can I bless this person with more if they're not even grateful with what they currently have? If they're not able to be a good steward of what they currently have. And this is so true because, especially in this day that we live in now, where we feel like we constantly need to want the next best thing, whether it's the next best car, whether it's a bigger house, whether, it's more clothes or more shoes. We constantly feel like what we have currently isn't good enough, and the next thing or the newest thing is the best thing that we need to have. And if we're not in a financial position to get those things, now all of a sudden here we are feeling like, oh man, like, I'm not good enough. Oh man, I don't have this thing that I'm missing that I absolutely need in my life. And God is here to tell us that we don't need all of these things to feel fulfilled. Yeah, the new iPhone came out. Yeah, there's a bigger house, of course, or, a nicer car that you could have. But God is telling us to be able to even steward having the car that we have, to be able to, or even if you're trying to get a car, be able to steward the fact that you have food on the table. Excuse me, be able to steward the fact that you have a way to kind of make money for yourself, to make money for your family. And if you're not in a position to steward these things and be grateful for these things, there's not a way really that God is able to bless you with more, because essentially you're not even on the field to catch any blessings because you're too busy complaining on the sideline that so and so has this or so and so has that. Meanwhile, those people are on the field catching blessings and being grateful and all of that as well. And so I wanted to talk about Matthew chapter 25, verse 21. And so what it says is, you have been faithful with a few things, and so I will put you in charge of many things. And this verse in the Bible comes from the parable of the talents. And basically, Jesus tells this story about how a master basically gives three servants a different amount of talents. And basically, a talent back then was like a large amount of money, basically, or like basically a large amount of money. And so one servant gets 5 talents. And so the second servant gets 2 talents. And then another servant gets 1 talent. And so basically, what they ended up doing was, the servant that got 5 talents was, he stewarded it really well and he was able to invest it. And so he turned 5 talents into 10 talents. And the second servant did the same thing, where he was able to double his talents and go from 2 talents to 4 talents. But the last servant was kind of hesitant. he almost like felt like he wasn't really deserving necessarily of the one talent. He started to, question himself. He started to question, the owner basically for giving him that talent. So he basically just buried it and didn't do anything at all with it. So when essentially the owner comes back, the master comes back, basically everyone, the other two servants are telling him like, okay, you gave me this, now I have this. And so he was happy, but the other one kind of starts to question him and everything. And he goes, oh, well, I basically just have the one that you gave me. And so it just really made it clear that that last servant was really like, he was a lot like us, because how many times do we have something and we feel like, whether we feel like we're not worthy of it, or whether because we're so focused on trying to get the next best thing that we can't even be a steward of what we currently have. And the servants that got the talent, basically they got more talents in accordance to, in relation to their ability essentially. And yes, the one who got 5 talents, of course he got more than the other two, but he was still able to be grateful, and he was still able to steward it in a way where he was able to double the amount that he had. And the servant that had 2 talents, same thing. Like, he could have looked at the servant that got 5 and been like, oh, I wish that was me. Why didn't I get 5? How come I'm not as talented or as skilled as the other person? But he said, even though I got 2 and the other person got 5, which of course is more than double what he got, he still said, you know what, I'm still going to be a good steward of this. I'm going to be grateful of this, and I'm going to put myself in position where I can double this, or just in general, just so I can make more of this position. And the one that got 1 spent so much time kind of feeling sorry for himself that he didn't put himself in position to really steward that gift. And I think it's extremely important that whether you get 5 talents, whether you're super talented and you're super good at sports, super good at school, super good at all these things, or whether you're not, it's important that you steward what you're gifted. And it reminds me of one of the guys that I really look up to. His name is Myron Golden. And I love watching his content because he has polio. And so I believe it's his left leg that's paralyzed. And he talks about how growing up, initially he felt almost like he was cursed in a way because he has 6 brothers and none of them have polio. And what he was saying was he had to realize that God wanted to slow him down physically so that he could speed him up mentally. And this is the perfect example of, maybe Myron Golden got 4 talents instead of 5. And he could have complained about having 4 talents and how his brothers got 5 talents. But he said, you know what? I have 4 talents and I'm going to make such good use of these talents, and I'm going to double or triple or quadruple them. And I'm not going to sit here feeling sorry for myself that I don't have 5 talents like everybody else. And for so long in my life, it was very similar, where I felt like, oh, I'm single because I don't have as many talents. I'm single because I'm not the smoothest guy when it comes to talking to girls. Or I'm single because I'm insecure and all of these things. And it wasn't until I learned to embrace the things that I felt were weaknesses and all of these things that I felt like things finally started to change for me. And it came from just this standpoint of, instead of looking at yourself from a point of lack or from a point of things that you don't have, you start to appreciate all of the things that you do have. And when you appreciate the things you do have, A, you put yourself in better position to catch blessings, but B, it gives you more self-confidence to work with what you have. And this is just a lesson for life in general, that sometimes we may not have the finest materials or the finest things to build things, but the materials that we have will still be good enough to build it. And instead of spending time complaining or feeling bad for ourselves that we don't have top-notch materials and all these things, we need to still build with the equipment that we have. like for example, it's like with me recording this video on my phone, on my iPhone right now, I could complain and say, oh, well, I wish I had this crazy setup, that, you know, I wish I had a DSLR camera and all these things. But ultimately, it's not the material things that's going to impact the quality or the motivation that you have in working. Because no matter what, if you have a studio with, you know, a crazy setup and all these things, you still have to put the work in to record. You still have to go. You still have to, you know, lock in and everything. And if you're not at a point where you can lock in like that, it's not going to matter what you have. But sometimes it's a matter of using the resources that you have and using them to the best of your advantage. And when God sees that you are using what you have and you're not complaining or feeling sorry for yourself for not being given more talents or for not having more talents at this particular point in time, then when God sees that, he can bless you with more. And so now when we start appreciating everything that we have and we're grateful for these things, we put ourselves in position to win. That's when we put ourselves, you know, in the field, and then we can finally start to make these things happen. And so, yeah, you guys, I want to make this video to basically talk about the importance of putting yourself in position mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to catch these blessings when God throws them your way. Because otherwise, if you're too busy focused on what you're lacking, focused on what you don't have, now it's like you're not even on the field and you're literally just sitting on the bench sulking. And now it's like everyone else is on the field catching blessings and rejoicing, and you're sitting there almost like being jealous of them when you could also be on the field catching blessings. And that's the beautiful thing with life, is that when you have an abundant mindset, you understand that blessings aren't limited to a certain few people. And so I hope that you guys, that this video brings great value to you guys. I hope that you guys benefit from the content. If you guys like the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with someone that you guys think could benefit from this kind of content. And I'll talk to all of you guys in the next video.